Hello, I'm Greg Hunter. This is the weekly news wrap-up for Friday, November 9th, 2012. Well, Obama won, and I got to give it to USA Today for having the most, accurate headline here. Post-election divide surfaces. And I got to hand it to USA Today for going, right to the real story and this fiscal cliff. I mean, it's hard to believe that after $6 billion was spent on this election cycle total, $2 billion, more than $2 billion, just for the President of the United States, for the office of the President of the United States. And we have the same president. We have a Republican-controlled House, minus a few seats. We have a Democratic-controlled Senate, plus a couple of seats. It's right back where we started. And this election was supposed to decide everything. And I think they'll have something, but nothing's going to get done without some pretty good tax increases and some pretty hefty cuts. Nothing at all is going to get done. And, I'll tell you, here's another headline. This is how big money voted. And the day after, boom, the Dow plunges 300 points. And then Thursday down another 120 points, 400 points. And that's just 2 days after the election. And I think there'll be a lot of folks selling their stocks, selling their bonds, because they don't want to take the tax hit. I mean, even George Lucas sold his Star Wars franchise. And the report was because he was afraid of the tax increases in 2013, so he sold it now at $4 billion for Star Wars to Disney. And I think a lot of folks are going to be doing the same thing on a smaller scale, but, big sell-offs in the stock market, bond market, things like that, I don't think are far-fetched from between now and the end of the year. I don't see what makes it go up between now and the end of the year. It was also revealed that 5 days before the presidential election the Iranians, it was revealed today, 5 days before the election, or not yet today, yesterday, that the Iranians took shots at a U.S. Unmanned drone in the Persian Gulf. Now, they're feeling pretty frisky, pretty empowered that the United States does not want to go to war, and I don't think we do want to go to war. I think that there are not-so-secret meetings now that have, people are talking about with the Obama administration and the folks over in Iran, the leadership in Iran, that they want to try to avert war and try to avert it at all costs. And I think, listen, Barack Obama is not a dumb guy. I don't care what anybody says. He knows that if we have war in the Middle East and, immediately our assets are attacked, the Strait of Hormuz is down, gets shut, oil prices will spike. I think the derivative market would go haywire with all these interest rate swaps and all this funny money out there. And I think the Western economy could take giant hits. The dollar could sink. I mean, all kinds of bad things could happen if there's a big, fat war. And the Iranians know this, so they're firing at our unmanned drones. Now, that could be considered an act of war. I don't think the U.S. is going to start a war over that. Meanwhile, Iran has announced that, it's going to hold, drills, air raid drills and air defense drills. This does not sound like a country that's going to want to negotiate. And by the way, remember all these meetings we had with the, in Iraq and in Russia, with the Russians, the Chinese, the Iranians, the U.S., France, and Germany. And well, that's over. Now the U.S. administration reportedly is in not-so-secret meetings with Iran, but Iran feels pretty empowered, pretty bold. Meanwhile, the Israelis have to be looking at this like, what is going on? I mean, when are we going to put a stop to this program? The Obama administration says they do not want a nuclear-powered Iran, a nuclear-armed Iran. They'll do anything they can to stop that. What's going to go on with the wild card with Israel? Do we wake up one day and wish we filled our tanks up, Israel has attacked, or maybe Iran accidentally starts a war with one of these provocations that they had, 5-6 days ago in the Persian Gulf with one of our drones? Who knows? Meanwhile, Greece is in chaos. Their parliament over there narrowly passed some more austerity measures. That's what they call them. It's really pay cuts for government workers, benefit cuts for the people, raising the retirement age, things like that. People are angry. And, they're doing this so they can get some more bailout money from the European bankers. IMF, ECB, European Central Bank. They're in the streets mad, angry, and they know what's going on. They're being turned into debt slaves for the bankers to pay this money back, and they think they should take the Iceland route. They don't want that to happen. They installed a banker as the head of Greece. He's not an elected official. They want their money, and they want people to work for it and work long and raise the retirement age and things like that. Now, I'm sure there's some fat in the Greek budget, but the people over there are chanting, fight. They're drinking our blood. That's what they're chanting. The crowds are, fight. They're drinking our blood. Is that any way to treat bankers that are trying to control you? Finally, with all the election brouhaha and the market sell-offs in the stock market, gold quietly gained, $50-60 this week? There is going to be no end to the open-ended money printing. That's according to the Fed, open-ended. Jim Rogers, famed investor Jim Rogers, says, hey, that's it. We're going to have Obama being elected. Nobody's going to stop the money printing. Presses are going to be turned on, and we're going to have inflation. You all should protect yourself and listen to Mr. Rogers. He's been right a lot. That's the way I see it. I'm Greg Hunter. Thank you for supporting USAWatchdog.com.